My area of expertise would probably be classified as soil fertility. I do a lot of work in different crops, but my main focus is in nitrogen use efficiency. And obviously rice is one of our main commodities in the state, and we want to focus on how we can increase producer profitability through efficient use of our nitrogen fertilizer inputs. So here at the Rohwer Research Station, we have several rice studies located both on silt loam and clay soils. So the clay block that you drove through on the first stop, we've got a lot of these same studies located over there on the heavy clay soil. Right behind me, this is a new study that we've actually started looking at this year in the past couple falls with the extreme length of our summers that go into October and November. We've got a lot of questions about retooning rice. And this year, with the expected or anticipated release of Rice Tech's two new varieties, XP 4523 and XP 4534, we wanted to get some real kind of hard data about what we need to do when we want to retoon rice. The thing about these two varieties is, if you notice across this bay, we've got a pretty big gradient in maturity. And so up here in the front, these are the two shortest season varieties. Rice Tech, the people that I talk to claim that these are probably about 100-day varieties. As you move back, you have CL 111, which is probably the next shortest variety that we have, 151. In the very back, we have CLXL 745, which is about 111-day to maturity Rice Tech variety, and then we have Wells, which is probably the longest season variety out here. And the idea behind this is we are going to come back in with a series of different nitrogen rates and see which nitrogen rate will optimize our retoon crop yield. One thing you have to remember with the retoon crop is the more nitrogen you add, the longer you're delaying your harvest. So there's a fine line there between enough to maximize your retoon crop yield, but too much to where you push your harvest out past frost and you don't ever cut a crop. So that's the first year of this study. We've got it at a couple other locations further north, just to see how the difference in latitude affects the date at which we can retoon. As you move down this bay, these are all nitrogen studies. The next big thing that we've got going further down is green seeker technology. So I don't know how many of you have heard of that, but it's pretty prominent in corn and wheat. Essentially what it is a sensor that allows you to determine the nitrogen status of the crop, and then you can use some algorithms or some calculations to determine whether or not you'll benefit from additional nitrogen. We've been working on these projects for a couple years now, and I think there's a lot of potential with this technology. One of the things that we would like to do in the next 2 to 3 years is have an answer for the majority of the nitrogen questions in rice. And by that I mean we've developed Instar, which is the nitrogen soil test for rice, and what that will allow us to do is site-specific nitrogen fertilization. We'll develop the green seeker technology for mid-season, and so with those two tools or technologies, there should be no real questions about your nitrogen fertilization. We should be able to optimize your nitrogen inputs and ensure that we're going to achieve the highest producer profitability. And within a few years, I think we'll have all of that kind of worked out and ready to release to the producers. The green seeker technology, we've got several different varieties down through here, and the one thing that we've kind of found out is that if you get your pre-flood nitrogen right, you don't get any benefit from mid-season nitrogen applications. And so a single pre-flood nitrogen rate will oftentimes maximize your yield at a lower total in rate. And you know, there are some other issues that go along with that. Single pre-flood nitrogen rates have been related to increased disease pressures and some things like that. But with some of the new varieties that we have and some of the fertilizer stabilization products such as Agritane or Arborite, I think moving to a single pre-flood nitrogen application And then using a technology such as the Green Seeker to determine whether or not you'll benefit from mid-season nitrogen will ensure that we get the highest producer profitability in our rice production systems.